What's up, guys? This is EJ Holland with the Wolverine.com, and we are back with another Wolverine live recruiting show here on Tuesday with my co-pilot, Zach Libby. If you notice, I have an HD camera now. Hopefully the audio issues are fixed as well. So appreciate everybody that's joining us tonight. We do have a special promotion running. Before I talk about that, like this video and subscribe to the Wolverine YouTube channel. That is completely free. Our special offer is $29.99 to the Wolverine.com. That gets you premium insider access through August 31st of this year. Get premium recruiting content, team information just in time for spring football, basketball recruiting, NIL transfer portal, and so much more. Plus, you get to be part of a vibrant Michigan message board community all over at the Wolverine.com today until August 31st of 23. If you're already a subscriber, you can gift a subscription. Today's Valentine's Day, so no better gift on Valentine's Day than a subscription to the Wolverine. All right, we do have a special episode today, Zach. We are doing our 2024 recruiting draft. And so usually drafts are a little hard to do. So this is what I came up with. Instead of 7-on-7, which doesn't include linemen, I'm a big retro gamer. Zach was never Zach was never alive for retro games, but which makes me feel old. But I was a big NFL street guy, and that is 7-on-7 with linemen. So basically, you have a quarterback, a running back, 2 pass catchers, 3 offensive linemen. On the defensive side of the ball, you have 3 defensive linemen, a linebacker, and 3 defensive backs. And that's what we're doing tonight with Michigan's 2024 recruiting targets. So it's a fun way for you guys to get to know some of the targets and commits on the board, and get to know the guys that we really like as well. Here are the rules. You can't just take anybody in the 2024 recruiting class nationally. One, it has to be an active Michigan target, so Michigan needs to be recruiting them right now. A player has to have visited Michigan and or have Michigan in his top schools. So again, an active target that's visited Michigan or has Michigan in his top schools. So you can't just pick a guy like a guy that's visited in the past but is now committed to Alabama, like Julian Sayin. Like, he is ineligible, right? So has to be an active target, has to have visited or is planning a visit and has Michigan in his top group or is strongly considering Michigan. So those are the rules. It will be a snake draft. This is live. We have not pre-drafted the players, so a little bit of a gamesmanship and strategy will go into tonight's draft. So Zach, any comments before we start?
I've been waiting for this all week when you proposed this idea. Like, I have my strategy already down. You'll probably figure it out once we're in the midst of it. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this.
All right, we're going with a good old-fashioned game of rock, paper, scissors to determine who goes first, or you can defer and take the second and third pick since it is a draft. So ready? It's going to be rock, paper, shoot. That's the correct way to do it. I don't know how people out there feel about your traditional rock, paper, scissors rock, paper, scissors game, but it is rock, paper, scissors, shoot. So ready, Zach?
Let's do it.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. All right. That wasn't on screen, but I did have scissors. Zach had rock, so you get to choose. Do you want the first overall pick or do you want second and third?
I'm going with the first pick.
Go ahead.
Justin Scott out of St. Ignatius in Chicago, Illinois. 4-star defensive lineman. You can play the nose all the way to the 5 tech. The most dominating force in the 2024 class, in my opinion, and arguably should be a 5-star. So he deserves the number 1 overall pick.
Now, I will say I would have drafted Justin Scott number 1. So definitely hurts my soul to see Justin Scott go over to Zach Libby's team. Look, Justin is a mammoth 300-pounder. He's a complete difference maker at the nose spot. He can slide out to the 3 tech. I mean, he's so athletic for his size. I think there's a lot of talented prospects on Michigan's 2024 recruiting board, but I think Justin Scott going number 1 overall makes a lot of sense. I think he was the clear 101 here. I think Justin Scott is a big win for Zach, but that means I get 2 picks in a row. So I'm excited about that. My first round pick is going to be the number 1 pass rusher in the entire country, one of my personal favorites in the class, Dylan Stewart out of Washington, D.C. Friendship Collegiate School. I absolutely love Dylan Stewart. This is a man among boys. He is a 5-star level prospect. I believe On3 has him ranked as the number 5 overall recruit nationally. Like I said, the number 1 edge in the country. I need guys to get after the quarterback on my team. If I cannot have Justin Scott clogging the middle, I'm for sure going to have the best pass rusher in the game, and that is Dylan Stewart. 6'5", 235-pound monster. Isn't really a super lanky guy. I mean, he's really filled out. I went out to see Dylan Stewart last fall, so in October, play against Nicholas Harbor and Archbishop Carroll, and there was no doubt in my mind that Dylan Stewart was the best recruit on that football field. I absolutely love him as a recruit. I think he is very worthy of my first round draft pick. Now, I'm going to avoid strategy here. It's not the best idea, in my opinion, to take this position right now. So I'm going to reach a little bit, but I just love this kid so much. And I think he is the clear top of the board guy at the linebacker position. And that is Aaron Childs, another one of my personal favorite. The Maryland monster can do it all. He basically resembles Junior Colson. Look at that. Look at the ticker from our producer, Hutch. So shout out to him for putting the teams below so you guys can keep track of it and we can keep track of it. But Aaron Childs, like I said, very much resembles Junior Colson. He's a guy that just named Michigan his leader coming off his January visit. He's set to return in March, so a lot to like about where the Wolverines stand. He can run sideline to sideline. He loves to hit people in the mouth. He can drop back into coverage. He's currently ranked as the number 67 overall prospect in the country. I think On3 and 24/7 both have him really undervalued. This is a guy that, much like Junior Colson, who was ranked around these same ranges. Like, opinions varied on Junior from the number 50 to the number 150 overall recruit in the nation. I always thought of Junior Colson as a 5-star prospect. I think of Aaron Childs as a 5-star prospect. I've seen him enough at the Ray Lewis camp last year. I saw him at the Under Armour Baltimore camp last year. I saw him in game back in October. There's just so much to love about Aaron Childs. So, going with my new home region, I have 2 of the best recruits in the DMV in Dylan Stewart and Aaron Childs. So beat that, Zach.
I'm going to go with 2 DBs. Well, I get 2 picks, right?
You do get 2 picks. You're coming around the corner.
All right, I'm going to go 2 DBs with these 2 picks. The first one, KJ Bolden out of Buford, Georgia, the same school that Montrez Walker, the new 2025 linebacker commit, is from. Bolden is the number 4 player in the country right now, number 1 safety nationally. Had visited Michigan at the barbecue at the Big House with a former teammate. He just produced a top 15 back in January with Michigan included. Michigan is looking to get him back on campus after visiting him twice at his school in December and January. And Bolden has told us that Michigan is going to get more of a shot after what has happened with back-to-back college football playoff appearances and his relationships with Jesse Minter, defensive coordinator, and defensive back coach Steve Klingscale. Considering that I know who you're probably going to pick for wide receiver and tight end, I need a safety who is a ball hawk, can play in the deep thirds, and is a center fielder in his own right for the top school in Georgia. So I'm going to go KJ Bolden with this one.
Well, you do have another pick after KJ Bolden, but kind of a no-brainer there, number 1 overall safety in the country.
Yep. And then my next pick, I decided to not go DB, and I'm going to go with Brady Prescorn, my one of 2 pass catchers in my team. Brady is very what's the word? Doesn't really care much about the recruiting process, but it is evident that Michigan is a strong lean for him. He comes from Rochester Adams, 6'5", 235 pounds, can easily get up to 265, much like his older brother, currently plays for Ole Miss. Runs in a triple option offense, but considering the size and his ability to block, it will easily complement to the Big Ten level if he commits to Michigan. Should he play in line as well? Visited at least twice in the fall for the Michigan State games and a Y game, and is looking to come back for March for spring practice. So I think he would be the perfect outmatch. He would outmatch anyone on your team.
Well, I'm not sure about that because Zach left the best pass catcher on Michigan's board out for me to take. So he took Brady Prescorn, which is a great pick. I was going to take Brady Prescorn had he not taken him, but he left Ryan Wingo out there. I mean, he's the best wide receiver on Michigan's board. I absolutely love Ryan Wingo. I am going to take him. With my next pick, I have the most elite pass catcher on Michigan's board on my team. I had a chance to see Wingo at the OT7 tournament in Las Vegas last summer. I mean, he is a dominant force on the outside. And while I would have liked to have Brady Prescorn paired up with him, I think Wingo is the alpha dog. As far as where Michigan stands, look, Michigan hosted him for a couple of visits last year. They had him on campus in the spring. He returned for the game against Michigan State. And there you see Wingo, the number 24 overall recruit in the country. So 2 visits already for Michigan. Now, I know there are some others very high on his list as well, some SEC schools, Notre Dame. But Michigan is working to get him back on campus in the spring. They are confident he will return for a practice and check out the Wolverines in action. Obviously, it's tough to lure big time pass catchers like this to such a run heavy offense, but Wingo keeps on visiting, and the Wolverines like where they stand early on. I'm actually really shocked that Zach didn't take him because Zach has loved up Ryan Wingo this entire time. Look at him. He looks angry down in the little box that he didn't take Ryan Wingo. So I will gladly type in Ryan Wingo into my little team box. So shout out to our producer Hutch again with the ticker down below so you can keep track of the teams. Look at Zach, he's panicking now. He doesn't know what to do.
I know my second option. I already know. I know you're not going to pick him either, so I'm good.
And I would just to spurn you, but I'm not. I'm actually going with another edge, and this edge can often be forgotten because he is ranked so highly and has not been talked a lot about by the fans, but he is planning to visit Michigan soon. And he did recently include Michigan in his top group, and that is Arizona's Elijah Rushing. He's ranked as the number 9 overall recruit in the country. He has an argument as the best edge in the country with Dylan Stewart. So my pass rushers are absolutely hellacious. Not only do I have Dylan Stewart on one side, I have Elijah Rushing on the other side. So if I don't have the mammoth in Justin Scott in the middle, I at least have 2 of the very best edge recruits in the country. Here you see Elijah Rushing, the number 17 overall recruit nationally, the number 3 overall edge in the country per the consensus. On 3, Dylan Stewart is number 1 and Elijah Rushing is number 2. So like I said, Rushing just named Michigan in his top group a couple of months ago. The Wolverines are working to get him on campus. Mike Elston actually offered him last year and had been in contact with him since his time at Notre Dame. I know Zach was planning on going down to see Elijah Rushing at some point in the future. There's a lot to love about Rushing. I had a chance to see him live at the Under Armour camp in LA last year. He is a legitimate 6'6". He is 225 pounds, so he has the lankier athletic frame that would complement Dylan Stewart really well, who again is the bulkier, stronger edge rusher. So really like what I have from my pass rushers there. I mean, the 2 best edge guys in the country on my squad, plus Ryan Wingo. I mean, I'll take it all day.
All right.
Look at Zach. He's still scared, man. He's scared. He doesn't. He's changing his game plans.
I mean, if you're going to take Ryan Wingo, then I need to take the top cornerback in the state of Ohio, according to On3, which is Aaron Scott out of Springfield. Scott, who just visited Michigan last month, might be an Ohio State lean. I know a lot of people have assumed that he might be going to Ohio State, but clearly getting Michigan to get him on campus was big. Obviously, we all know that Michigan is making a concerted effort to recruit the state of Ohio for 2024. Just landing 2 prospects already. Landing a kid like Scott, who Ohio State is prioritizing heavily, would be amazing. And then in this situation, if you're going to take the best wide receiver option, I'm going to take the best corner option. So that is Aaron Scott, who just finished last season with 5 interceptions, 7 pass deflections, 3 tackles for losses, and 1 fumble recovery.
Well, you do have another pick, Zach. I do like the Aaron Scott pick. I'd be interested in an Aaron Scott versus Ryan Wingo battle.
I mean, knowing my team, we're already winning, so you'll have to put in your second string. It's okay, but I'm gonna go with my other wide receiver option. I know you weren't. I probably assume you weren't gonna probably pick him, but I'm gonna pick him up anyway. Carter Nelson out of Nebraska, 6'4", 205 pounds. Grant Newsome has already seen him during the contact period, and if we're talking about top tight end / receiver options, Carter is without a doubt on the top of the board. He is the only player in Nebraska history to have 10 recorded touchdowns through the air, so catching, 10 rushing touchdowns, and 10 passing touchdowns all in one season. Now, keep in mind, we all know that he plays an 8-man football, but the level of talent, his speed, and really his just overall his overall character in terms of just wanting to find the right fit in terms of coaching relationships. I think Grant Newsome is doing a great job with this. Pulling him out of Nebraska, obviously the Cornhuskers and Matt Rule are making him the guy, but anytime when Grant Newsome is involved, Michigan has a shot. So if you can put Carter at tight end, you can put him out wide, you can put him in, you can put weight on him and keep him in line, but I really like him as my outside option. So Carter Nelson, Brady Prieskorn, those are my route runners right now.
Well, it looks like Zach has 2 tight ends and 0 receivers, so we'll see how that strategy works out for me. You did shock me because I also know that you're a big fan of Arian Hampton, and I thought that was the direction you were going to go in, but you completely went off left field and picked Carter Nelson. So really interesting pick there, Zach. That means that you've taken both your pass catchers, so you cannot select any more pass catchers. You are stuck with 2 tight ends. And that also means that I don't have to take a pass catcher until the last round because it doesn't matter. I can select any guy I want later on. And that means I'll turn my attention elsewhere. Right now, I have no defensive backs, and I think Zach made a mistake by taking Scott because the true number 1 cornerback in the great state of Ohio is Bryce West. And that is who I am going with. Bryce West is a phenomenal player in the secondary. Zach is sweating right now. He's upset because he is a big Bryce West fan as well. I had a chance to see Bryce for the Under Armour Ohio camp last year, and it was easy to see that he was on that elite status. I thought he was the best cornerback there, regardless of class. And he was an underclassman at the time. Terrific speed for the cornerback position. Michigan is working to get faster there. And Bryce West has been that top guy on the list. He is a guy that, again, fits what Michigan wants this cycle. As far as his recruitment, I think this is a true Michigan-Ohio State recruiting battle. I think there are a lot of Ohio State ties when it comes to Bryce West, and that has Michigan fans a little hesitant. But Steve Klingscale has done a fantastic job of recruiting Bryce West. Obviously, he made it to campus for an unofficial visit last month, and he is good friends with Michigan commit Jacob Oden. So Bryce West is my pick. Really liking how my defense is shaping up. My next pick, man, this is a little bit of a tough one. I'm going with, we haven't selected any offensive linemen, and I think that's because there isn't one true dominant offensive lineman. There are a lot of great offensive linemen, so I don't think you can go wrong with any of the guys on Sharon Moore's board. But I need someone that bleeds maize and blue. I need someone that has Michigan running through their veins. So I'm going with Blake Frazier, uh, road grader out of Austin Vandegrift, premier offensive tackle as well. He's a guy that again is great in the run game. He's great as a pass blocker. He has NFL bloodlines. He has Michigan bloodlines. I think he is the best offensive lineman on the board. And so I'm taking Blake Frazier with my pick. He is the guy along the offensive line for me.
Okay. You had a linebacker option in Aaron Childs. That's obviously the number one option. But I'm going to go with the guy who's actually the top linebacker in the country, which is Sammy Brown out of Georgia, who visited in the offseason and has told On3 that Michigan is still in the running for him.
That doesn't even count. Come
Yes, he
on.
is.
He left Michigan out of the top group.
He told us
Oh,
that Michigan
God.
is still
See
in
what I have
the
to deal
radar.
with? Zach is resorting to cheating and not following the rules because they are not in his official top group.
They are keeping him in the back pocket, which is basically, you have your top list, you have, you're out, and then there's right in the middle. So we're not leaving Michigan out with Sammy Brown.
Bad pick for Zach. He gets a boo. He gets tomatoes thrown at him. He's cheating because he's not winning.
No, it's called doing my research. It's called remembering that he visited, and it's called talking to him 3 times in person and saying how much he appreciates Michigan.
And he appreciates Michigan. Who knows how much he's actually considering Michigan? There you go.
Look, you want me to pick someone else? Do you want me to pick someone else?
If you want to leave Sammy Brown on your team, that's fine. We'll leave it up to the court of the people.
We'll ask Hutch. He's really the third person in charge.
I don't even think our producer follows recruiting that closely, but we'll just let you have Sammy Brown, and we'll let the fans judge you for making that pick.
Okay, Sammy Brown, obviously over 100 tackles, including over 60 solo. A true middle linebacker with the pass rush that I already have with Justin Scott alone. I don't need a blitzing linebacker. I need a guy who is versatile in coverage, in the curls and flats. So I'm gonna go with Sammy Brown, who I have seen live at 2 camps, and he is without a doubt a man among boys.
Well, people saying Sammy Brown should not count, so you are getting judged, Zach. Boo this man. Get this man out of here. We need the boo this man gif from our producer. Was that you did have another pick, didn't you?
I did. Yeah.
So after the Sammy Brown controversy, Zach gets another pick.
All right, I'm going to go with another DB. I need size in my defensive back group, so I'm going to go with Shamana Madonna, top 100 DB, Zaquan Patterson, which is a teammate of 2025 cornerback commit Chris Ewald. Zaquan visited for the Penn State game in October. He talked about how great the atmosphere was of being alongside 110,000 Michigan fans. He talked very highly of Steve Klingscale and how honest and real conversations are. Michigan is firmly in the mix for at least an official visit on account for Michigan seeing Zaquan as a true defensive back. Now at 6'3" and 195 pounds, he can be more of a tweener, but Zaquan has been more than adamant about him not being the linebacker. He can play box safety, he can play the high safety, he can even play cornerback, and I have seen him live last month at the Battle Miami tournament for DEFCON 1, and he played exclusively cornerback and held his own very, very well. So I have my 2 cornerbacks locked down, and I have my safety passing on me.
Well, I think I'm still going to end up with just as good of a secondary, if not better, because I am taking my personal favorite player in the secondary. I absolutely love this kid. He's not talked about as much, but he constantly tweets out some Michigan love. He's visited in the past. He was supposed to visit again this season, had to cancel, but is looking to come back in the spring. And that's Ricardo Jones, my guy out of the great state of Georgia. This is a kid that Michigan has made a big priority early on. Jesse Minter was out to see him last month. I think, again, he's one of the best, if not the best safety on Michigan's recruiting board right now. So I'm picking Ricardo Jones. I think Michigan has a legitimate chance to pull him out of the Peach State, especially if he does end up making it back for a spring visit. But Ricardo Jones is my pick, and great to pair with Bryce West. And I'm sticking with another player in the secondary. I really wanted to make a different pick here, but I need some size. Right now, Bryce West is a little bit more of a speedier guy. I need some size since you drafted two tight ends, which is obviously unheard of. Give Zach another thumbs down for his two tight end draft. But I'm going, I need some size at the corner position, and I need some like dog mentality. And if I'm going to go find a dog, I'm going to Baltimore, and I'm picking Ife Obidegu out of Baltimore St. Francis. If you want dogs, you go to St. Francis and you get dogs. St. Francis is a premier program nationally. They have that hard Baltimore mentality. I just spent like 3 hours up there this week and love what they do with the program. If he just named Michigan in his top 7, told me that like literally yesterday or today, he named Michigan in his top 7, told me he's planning to make a visit this offseason. He is that bigger cornerback. He is an on 300 prospect. Michigan obviously has great relationships at St. Francis. So you give me a secondary with Bryce West, Iffy, and Ricardo Jones. I am a very happy man, and my defense is almost filled up. So we'll go back to you, Zach.
Since you have Elijah Rushing and Dylan Stewart, two of the best pass rushers and among the best pass rushers in the country, I need size for my offensive line and I need chemistry. So I'm going to stick with two offensive linemen at St. Edward and Ben Roebuck, tackle, and Deontay Armstrong, tackle. Both just came off their state championship run in arguably the toughest division in the entire nation, the OHSA Division One. Going 15-1, absolutely dominating the likes of Archbishop Moeller, Lakota's, Springfield, everyone. I think Michigan is doing a great job with all three offensive line targets, including Devontae Armstrong, who plays guard. But I want my tackles ready to block Stewart and Rushing. So both combined for over 600 pounds. Average height is 6'7". Interest all across the board in the Midwest, from Kentucky, Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, but Michigan just had both on campus last month, and I firmly expect both of them to take an official visit. And I think both of us have predictions out for Roebuck in particular to go to Michigan. So I throw more in. Along with Steve Klingsdale, I've done really well with Northeast Ohio kids, grabbing Luke Hamilton, who's about 10 minutes away from St. Edward. But I think if I want to wall up your guys, I need strength, I need size, and I need aggressiveness. And I think Armstrong and Roebuck will be the perfect complements to each other.
Well, Zach failed again. Take the biggest and baddest tackle on the board, which is who I'm taking. Andrew Sprague out of Missouri, 6'8", 270 pounds, another big mauler to go along with Blake Frazier. Andrew Sprague usually stays low-key, doesn't do a ton of interviews, kind of a guy that's looking at more regional schools like Michigan, Nebraska, Missouri. Doesn't do a ton on the recruiting side, but he is a guy that's visited Michigan in the past. He is around the top of the offensive line board for Sharon Moore. They are in contact all the time. Sprague is looking to make a return trip in the near future. If you are not familiar with the name Andrew Sprague as Michigan fans, because he does stay low key, then you do need to start getting familiar with him. He will be a pivotal target as we head into spring. And now that I have Blake Frazier and Andrew Sprague, I'm super excited about where my offensive line group is going. I could take another offensive lineman here. I was banking on Zach just taking Jordan Marshall because he loves the Ohio guys, but I can't pass up an opportunity to take Taylor Tatum. Taylor Tatum is my favorite running back in the class. Top 100 prospect out of Longview, Texas. A shout out to my home state. Man, you talk about a super athlete. Taylor Tatum is that guy, an elite football player, an elite baseball player, a star on his track team. He has an argument as the best running back in the country right now. I believe On3 has him as the number 2 running back overall. I know there's been a lot of talk about Jordan Marshall or Taylor Tatum. I really like Jordan Marshall. Don't get me wrong. I think Jordan Marshall is a top 100 talent. But when you're talking about the elite of the elite running backs, I think Taylor Tatum is in that category. I think he's a 5-star guy. And so I'm going to have Taylor Tatum run right behind Blake Frazier and Andrew Sprague. And how about those 2 skill guys there, Taylor Tatum and Ryan Wingo? So those are my picks, Zach.
I'm surprised you didn't pick Jordan Seaton out of your own area.
Because he's another Sammy Brown. It's like
no, he did not drop any top schools.
Oh my God. Look at Zach going with another Sammy Brown. There's a reason I have not gone to see Jordan Seaton during my DMV swings, and that's because Michigan is a bit of an afterthought right now. But he has visited in the past, and you're right, he hasn't dropped an official top schools list. So if you want to take Jordan Seaton, by all means, you are not winning the vote of the popular fan.
I don't really care. Like, I'm playing with the rules. I'm playing with the rules. And if we need an interior lineman I could take Luke Hamilton considering the Cleveland connection, but I want someone out of your area, to be honest.
And it doesn't even count. It's another Sammy Brown. Look at this. Look at Zach going with guys that are fringe counting.
I say Jordan Seaton for one because he has visited for the Ohio State game. He has told me in interviews that
was like 2 years ago.
I'm sorry.
The Ohio State game was in Columbus last year. It wasn't even in Ann Arbor.
I'm sorry. Was the rules that you had to visit once and you didn't?
Oh my God. He visited 2 years ago.
Okay.
We should amend the rules.
Amend the rules.
It has to be in the last year. Oh my God. I mean, you can keep Jordan Seaton, but people are not going to vote for your team because you are a clear cheater or a rule bender.
I'm not
rule bender.
No, I'm not, these out of left field guys. These guys actually visited. These guys have clearly said that Michigan is on their radar. And you know what? Maybe an argument for Sammy, but he has clearly told On3 that Michigan is still being considered. That's called research.
I'm going to go see Jordan Seaton just for you, Zach, so he can confirm that he has some interest, I suppose.
I tried to go see him in August. So, maybe I'll go there first. We can hang out in DC, check out some museums.
All right, Zach, you do have another pick as our draft is winding down.
Okay, so we have 3 picks left. Is that correct?
I am not sure. I know you're on the back end of a pick. I know I have 4 picks left.
Okay. For running back, I think that the obvious choice, since you picked Taylor Tatum, has to be Jordan Marshall out of Cincinnati. He is my favorite running back in the class, and your typical north-south, in between the tackles, a hard runner, keeps his legs running, can be flexed out to the slot as a pass capture option, but he is definitely a first and second down back. He has continued to mold his game off of Blake Corum. That's just based on the amount of visits that he's taken, which is 3 since June, most recently in January. His relationship with Mike Hart is something that needs to be discussed more, and I think Michigan fans, if Marshall does commit to Michigan over Ohio State, Tennessee, Mike Hart is one of the bigger reasons, if not the reason, for this land. I think this would prove that Mike Hart is able to recruit on the trail. Marshall has talked a lot about the opportunities and the resources provided at Michigan outside of football. You know, he wants to be a lawyer. He wants to help out with children. So I think the academic piece is something that his family appreciates a lot. I know his family appreciates the energy and the passion that Michigan fans provide him on social media, as well as just seeing a game. You know, Michigan State game was one of the most electric atmospheres this past season. And I think Marshall to just be a priority figure for that game and beyond, I think that's done wonders. And we all know there he was in his top 4, and it's just part of the narrative of Michigan going to Ohio. Don't get me wrong, Taylor Tatum is just as good, if not better than Marshall, but I think the Ohio narrative speaks more about landing Marshall than a kid from Texas.
But Zach just admitted that Taylor Tatum was better, so we're going back to the better team. And I'm picking my final offensive lineman here. I'm going back down to the great state of Texas. I'm just having a huge offensive line. I'm picking Michael Uini out of Copperas Cove, same area as Blake Frazier, Copperas Cove outside of the Austin area, so Central Texas here. You have the Texas connection with Frazier and Uini. Uini just visited in January. He has quickly ascended to the top of the Michigan offensive line board. He's extremely highly ranked, the number 7 overall offensive tackle in the country, the number 122 overall recruit nationally. So you give me an offensive line of Andrew Sprague, Blake Frazier, and Michael Uini. I mean, these are towering maulers that are just going to destroy Zach's defensive line. So very happy to take Michael Uini there. I'm going to circle back to defensive line. I'm going to pull a little Zach out of my hat, I guess, since Zach is playing a little dirty
playing by the rules
tonight. I'm going back and taking my final defensive lineman here, and I'm going with T.A. Cunningham, top 50 recruit nationally, 6'6.5", 280 pounds, just an absolute monster out of California. Visited Michigan last year, named Michigan in his top 13 or something of that nature. It was a pretty large list, but at least they were in the top schools, unlike Sammy Brown. We'll be interested to see if Michigan gets him back on campus or creates any type of movement. But like I said, T.A. Cunningham did visit last year, and he did include Michigan in his top group fairly recently, a couple months ago. So definitely not a Sammy Brown level pick, but a little bit of an outlier there, but absolutely love my defense. I have 2 picks remaining. Zach, I think you have 2 picks remaining?
I have 3 because I did the first pick.
You do have 3 picks remaining. All right, well, you do get 2 picks here.
Okay. I love how quarterback's the last one for both of us.
Yeah, just because there's very limited options there. You can only select a couple guys.
Maybe a few. Maybe.
Maybe. Oh, no, Zach going back. Dylan Raiola. I can't wait for Zach to pick Dylan Raiola here.
Okay. I won't do that. I do need 2 edge rushers. I have my 3 tech. I have my nose. I need 2 edge rushers. I mean, I think the clear choice is Brian Robinson, 6'6", 255 pounds of just absolute, like, if you see his Twitter account, he is like the weightlifting All-American and the conditioning All-American. I think his body, the way it has progressed from what we've seen when he first got offered to now, is just unbelievable, the strides that he is making. I think outside of the storyline aspect with him being from Youngstown, his family from Youngstown, and Steve Klingsdale also from Youngstown as well, and the amount of visits Brian has taken, it's up to, you can count them on 2 hands. It's up to 7 at this point. But from a on-field standpoint, I need a guy who's the first in line, the first to enter the door, the guy who the last one to leave, the guy who's going to push others to do their very best in the weight room and in practice. And I think Brian is going to be my vocal leader and my vocal captain on defense, along with Sammy Brown. But with
Dylan
Justin
Raiola.
with Justin Scott clogging up 2 holes with my other guy coming up, and then Brian Robinson off the edge, I don't think your offensive line can protect your quarterback. So,
All right, Zach has another pick, even though I love you, Brian. I love the workout videos. I love the food. I need to go over and have some, but he's not getting by Andrew Sprague or Blake Frazier or Michael Uini. Sorry, Zach.
All right, so I got 1 pass rusher and 1 quarterback. I'm going to go with the quarterback, and I'm going to go with your boy Michael Van Buren out of Baltimore St. Francis.
Despite me.
I think we're all in agreement in terms of the amount of the how high Van Buren's ceiling is. I think he plays for the top DMV school in that region. He plays a national schedule. He plays elite competition at the high school level. It's only going to prepare him for the Big Ten level. I know that he didn't leave him at his top schools, but obviously quarterbacks coach Kirk Campbell has made contact with Van Buren. He has talked to you and said how nice it was to hear from Michigan again. I do expect Kirk Campbell to keep pressing forward, along with, I assume, who's going to be your guy at quarterback.
Dylan Raiola.
Dylan Raiola, yep.
No, I mean, Michael Van Buren obviously counts with Kirk Campbell getting back in contact. I'll actually have a Michael Van Buren update tomorrow. So if you're not a subscriber to the Wolverine, you can subscribe now for just $29.99 until August 31st of this year and get the latest on Michael Van Buren. All right, I have my last 2 picks left. Obviously hurts my heart that Michael Van Buren is not on my team since he is one of my personal favorites. But that means I get the guy at the top of Michigan's board, and I am completely happy to take Jaden Davis here. Jaden Davis is the guy. I mean, he is still the number 1 priority, while Kirk Campbell has been in contact with Michael Van Buren and has followed a couple of others. Jaden Davis remains the priority here. He has a great arm, great feel in the pocket. He's a guy that really drives off his lower half, which is uncommon for young quarterbacks. I think he can adjust some of his mechanics in his throwing motion, but he has a quick release. He's a guy that's a great leader for that Charlotte Providence Day team. Led him to a state title. I was at a game where Davis was puking all over the field. And led his team to victory there. So, a lot of people are like, EJ loves Michael Van Buren and he doesn't love Jaden Davis. Like, I have them ranked like back to back. I think they're both in the same tier. I literally have Michael Van Buren, Jaden Davis, like right next to each other. So in the exact same range. So I am completely happy to take Jaden Davis here. I thought he took a big step forward in the accuracy department this year, really improved his completion percentage. I believe he went from the mid 50s to about 73 or so percent completion percentage. So I think Jaden Davis is a guy that will lead my team to victory. I think Jaden Davis is the man on Michigan's board for a reason and will easily throw touchdowns to Ryan Wingo. And my next pick, I can't believe I'm taking this dude with my last pick. Now, there are many receivers I would have liked to have here. Marion Stewart is one of my personal favorites. I've known him since he was like an 8th grader, and it saddens me that I'm not going to have him on my team. I would have liked to have taken Gatlin Bear. I mean, I definitely love some 10.5 or 10.4, whatever it is, 100 meter speed. That's all great. But I'm taking a top 20 receiver in the country. It'll give me 2 top 2025 receivers. And that's Mylan Graham, number 17 overall recruit nationally. Just visited Michigan last month. And look, Mylan Graham's visit kind of came out of nowhere. Michigan wasn't really considered a player in this recruitment. But I'm told that Mylan Graham just isn't about that life. He doesn't really, post a ton on social media. He doesn't really communicate a ton, but apparently he's been interested in Michigan. He made that visit in January. In fact, a lot of people don't know this, and I was going to write this in my Into the Blue Insiders piece tomorrow. Mylan Graham actually drove himself out for the Michigan visit. His family couldn't come with him, but he wanted to make the visit so much that he just drove himself out there. So he made the 2.5 hour drive or 3 hour drive, whatever it is, from Fort Wayne, Indiana, to meet with Ron Bellamy and Jim Harbaugh. Had the whole Sunday basically to himself. So I think Ohio State has been considered the leader there, but Michigan is quickly rising in the Mylan Graham recruitment. So, again, I love Gatlin Bear. I love Marion Stewart. Ryan Wingo and Mylan Graham, ridiculous. So I have completed my draft. Zach gets the final pick.
I can either take an edge rusher or a D tackle here. I'm decided to go with both in a way, in a actual in-state recruit in Brandon Davis-Swain.
Look at that. That's an interesting pick.
I think Brandon is, let's just talk about the narrative. Obviously he comes from West Bloomfield. He is former teammates with Amir Herring and Samaj Morgan. Samaj Morgan has routinely told both of us how much he wants Brandon Davis-Swain on the team. And I think they've been made pushes clearly last fall with the amount of visits that he took, even while he was at a Notre Dame commit. I think Michigan has been reeling in a pipeline with West Bloomfield for years. Clearly, there's a Ron Bellamy connection and the amount of talent that comes in annually. It would be, I think I could pick another West Bloomfield kid. If Kari Jackson didn't have his top schools list, I would have picked him as my linebacker. But with Brandon Davis-Swain, I think I've agreed with your assessment where he can either go down to the Chris Jenkins role or he can keep his edge rushing prowess. I think we've both seen him at camps. He is clearly the best performer out of everyone. He moves well for his size. He has explosive first punch. I think his length could get a little bit better, but overall, I think he's just an overall productive pass rusher for arguably the best team in the state of Michigan annually. So, to keep it local, I'm going to go with Brandon Davis-Swain.
Well, I think Zach was excited for the draft, but the lights got too big for him. I think my team easily dominated this draft, but we'll leave it up to the fans. We'll have a poll up. We'll see who the fans thinks have a better team. I'm not sure if Hutch has a board where he can pull up the teams, but very quickly, my team is quarterback Jaden Davis, running back Taylor Tatum, wide receivers Ryan Wingo and Mylan Graham, offensive lineman Blake Frazier, Michael Uini, and Andrew Sprague, defensive lineman / edges Dylan Stewart, T.A. Cunningham, and I messed this one up, Elijah Rushing, linebacker Aaron Childs, and defensive backs Bryce West, Ricardo Jones, and Ife Obadegwu. Some guys that I had on my board that I didn't draft. I'm looking at them right now. I talked about Gatlin Baird and Marion Stewart. Guys, again, that went undrafted that I had on my little short list. I had Max Anderson out of Texas, top 150 recruit, looking to visit soon. I think he's a premier interior offensive lineman. Luke Hamilton, Michigan's on 300 interior offensive line commit, is another guy I really considered drafting. Had I not taken T.A. Cunningham along the defensive line, I would have gone with Heaven Schuler Brown, who's another 300-pound nose type that just visited last month. I had a sleeper at edge. In fact, my next edge pick, had you taken Dylan Stewart or Elijah Rushing, would have actually been a 3-star. Screw the rankings. I would have taken Darian Mayo. I really like him out of good counsel. My linebacker after Aaron Childs was Chris Jones. I also thought about taking Mason Curtis, Michigan's on 300 commit, because he is so versatile. Had Boo Carter on my short list as well. 4-star prospect that you can play in the nickel, play on offense. I think he would have given my team some versatility, but Zach did so bad that I was able to actually just get almost all of my top targets.
Except you don't have the best running back. You don't have the best pass catcher.
Zach just admitted earlier in this show that Taylor Tatum's better, so I'm not really
I
sure
said
what he's
maybe.
talking about.
listen, you got to. I have an offensive lineman that has an average of 300 pounds and state championship winners. I have an in-state guy. He didn't go local. I have the best pass rusher in the entire country, regardless of position. I have the best true linebacker, and my defensive backs are better athletes.
I would say Bryce West would argue against that, but and I would say that I don't have an in-state prospect, but I have a legacy, and that means more. I have Blake Frazier, and Blake Frazier will lead my team to victory. Guys, we will post these teams, and you guys can vote on who had the better team. If you see the ticker below, you can see the team. So leave a comment on this YouTube video. Let us know who you would have drafted, who you think got snubbed from the draft, who you would pick out of me and Zach. But as always, like this video, subscribe to the Wolverine. Our draft has come to an end. You can always get more recruiting coverage and fun things like this over at thewolverine.com for $29.99 until August 31st. Hope you guys enjoy your Valentine's Day. I'm about to head out to Macaroni Grill with my wife because we thought it'd be fun to color and eat pasta. So hopefully you guys have a great rest of your week. And as always, go blue. I cannot end this broadcast